Hi, welcome to this lesson. Today we are going to be learning why you should stretch your clients. This is going to be going over all of the benefits of stretching explained briefly, and we'll also mention why you as a personal trainer can benefit from learning stretching techniques and how you can increase your income, popularity with your clients, and also increase your bookings. Stay tuned and please take notes and keep watching. So the first thing we're going to learn is how to become the pro. The whole basis of this program, the Client Stretch program for pro trainers, is designed to make you an expert at stretching your clients. This means that if you apply what you learn in this course, you'll be able to wow your clients with your new skill set and expertise. And trust me, they will love you for it. There's nothing more that can set you apart as a personal trainer than knowing how to properly stretch your clients, something that isn't well taught or well known in the personal training community. Now we will briefly go over the benefits of stretching and explain them. So stretching has been proven to actually help reduce muscle tension, so that's tension inside of the muscle, increase range of movement or range of motion in the joints, so basically helping your clients move better and not have such a limited range of motion. Also, it helps to enhance muscular coordination. So this has to do with how much control your client has when they're in the gym and when they're lifting weights and such. Additionally, it helps to increase blood circulation in various parts of the body. So this is how much blood is circulating, basically increases that. And also decreases the risk of injury in your client. So that means your client is actually going to be safer while they are working out. Here we're going to explain the benefits of stretching a little bit more. Basically, you're going to be able to help your clients not only perform better in the gym and in life, but actually feel better too. So this is very, very important because when your client is feeling stiff and sore or they're dealing with an injury, you are going to be the person that they're going to come to first to ask for guidance of how to feel better. There's nothing worse than feeling bad or having pain when you're working out. And a bad trainer would be one that would keep pushing the client through and not be attentive to their needs. A good trainer would say, hey, you know what? Your rotator cuff's bothering you right now. Let's take a minute to actually stretch it out and see if that helps it feel a little better. Guys, this will increase your value as a personal trainer tremendously. So do not overwrite the benefits of stretching. Be very open to it. And lastly, in this part of the module, I want to explain to you what stretching does for you as a trainer. So like I said, one, you're going to gain some popularity with your clients and other clients that are around with other trainers. With your additional knowledge, you're going to be able to offer stretch as an additional service onto your personal training packages. This means you're going to be generating additional income because you have more knowledge and skills now, so you're going to be able to charge more for your services and what you offer and provide. And being able to offer this means your clients are going to actually be happier because they're going to be feeling better, performing better, and that means you're going to have additional referrals from them and their friends and family, and you're going to also have more package renewals in the long run. So that's more money in your pocket with little additional effort or hustle to find more paying clients. What could be better than that, guys? That's the real power of learning a new skill. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about how stretching helps to reduce muscle tension. So this is specifically how we can use stretching to reduce the muscle tension in clients that they experience after they are working out with you. So we're going to talk about the discomfort that is associated with working out. So when you are first training your clients, you're putting them through these tough workouts that lead to extra muscle tightness. And new clients especially might be very uncomfortable with this tightness that they're experiencing. And it's crucial to help them recover in time for their next workout so that they're not going to be complaining of aches and pains. So definitely we're going to learn how stretching will help with this. So let's talk about the stretch shortening cycle. This is a cycle that occurs when you're working out and there's repetition of a movement. So this could be a bicep curl, for example. First, the arm is going to be straight where the stretch is occurring, and then you tell your client to flex their elbow towards the top of their shoulder, and that's the shortening part. So this is repeated over and over during a workout, and this creates the microscopic tears in the muscle fiber that lead to tightness. This also creates inflammation and resting muscle tension in the following days after your client works out. And this is a problem because it causes a lot of discomfort. So really the only way to speed up recovery in this stretch shortening cycle is to loosen the muscle up with stretching or doing foam rolling. And that's why it's so important to spend at least 15 minutes after your workout with your client to stretch your client and help speed up their recovery. There's numerous studies that show that stretching does help workout recovery. So to help them feel ready to tackle their next workout with you, and have minimal pain and soreness, it's essential that you know how to stretch your clients. And trust me, guys, your clients will feel better after their workout. They're going to perform better in their next workout, and they're very likely to brag to their friends and family about how skilled you are as a trainer because you know how to stretch them. I promise you this. So keep listening if you want to know how to do this. Today, in Lesson 4, we're going to talk about how we can increase range of movement or range of motion in the joints through stretching your clients. This is really important, guys, because if you learn how to do this properly, your clients are going to be able to perform so many more exercises than they would be able to perform without having the stretching. A lot of people that I have stretched over time have told me, wow, I can't believe how far my arm can go, like far back now, or how high up I can lift my arm over my head. You know, it's really something that occurs through increasing the range of movement in the joints and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to learn about that in this lesson, so keep listening. So safety is always first, and this will always be a rule of thumb. Range of movement is extremely important for having safe exercise execution. So this means that, especially with elderly clients or clients that have injuries, they may have a lack in range of motion or range of movement of their joints. So in order to have them safely perform a squat or an overhead press or whatever you want them to do, you need to make sure they have proper range of motion. And this is achieved through stretching. So especially clients with desk jobs may be more prone to having workout-related injuries because they have excess tightness in their hips, in their neck, and in their spine. So it's extremely important for these sedentary clients to be stretched as well. So we're talking about range of motion and working out. This example that I'm using is that a client that may struggle to reach their depth in their squats, it could be due to the tightness in their hips from working their 9-to-5 desk job. And this is extremely common. Many of your clients are going to have desk jobs, and this is over time making it more dangerous for them to be in the gym working out, doing specific exercises. Overhead pressing might be problematic if one of your clients has a rotator cuff injury. They may have limited range of motion. And using the techniques that you learn in this course, the videos that are going to follow, your clients can experience increased range of motion over time through incorporating the suggested stretches that we show you in this course. And I just want to go back to the heart of what our job is all about. As personal trainers, as fitness instructors, we are here for our clients to improve them in every and any way that we can physically. So, and even mentally. And one of my clients told me, wow, I couldn't lift my arm this high over my head, like I mentioned before. They couldn't even lift their arm over their head because they had limited range of motion. And after I stretched them, they were able to do it. And that stuff kind of brings us fulfillment as trainers. We're in the business of helping people look and feel their best. And any workout plan can be created by a trainer, but it's another thing to really listen to your client, know their needs and limitations, and be able to effectively address that through stretching. And it's really an invaluable skill that you're learning here in this course. Today in Lesson 5, we're going to learn about enhancing muscular coordination and what that means for your client through stretching and how it helps with neuromuscular disorders actually as well. So you may not know, but some of your clients may actually suffer from some type of neuromuscular disorder, which we're going to go into in this lesson. And you're going to learn about how stretching actually helps to improve and enhance their muscular coordination, which will mean the world to your clients, especially the ones that are suffering with some type of neuromuscular disorder. So stay tuned in this lesson, take lots of notes, and let's get into it. So what exactly is muscular coordination? That word sounds super big and doesn't really make a lot of sense to a lot of people. But basically it just means the precision with which a person can engage or activate a muscle. So that's precision is the closest word I can think of to put to it. It's very important when you're working out, and some conditions actually may negatively affect the muscular coordination, which we need to stabilize our joints, to make sure our muscles are properly being activated. And some of these conditions, like multiple sclerosis, which affects the nervous system, muscular dystrophy, which causes weakness and loss of muscle mass, and Parkinson's disease can all affect the nervous system while really throwing off muscular coordination. So in order for us to again come back to our roots of safety during exercise, stretching actually increases muscular coordination by unlocking the tightness and instability inside of the muscle. So when you're stretching a muscle, you're helping it be able to activate better, you're helping it to be able to perform better, and in turn, your workouts will be safer for your clients. So again, like I said, safety is always number one when you're a trainer, and that is really going to help protect your reputation as well. You're going to have more control when it comes to muscular coordination and being able to control the muscle during exercise. Like, I don't know if you know, but people with Parkinson's may have tremors and such. Being able to stretch actually helps with those kind of things. So that's why it's extremely important. Now lastly, these clients actually have sometimes insecurities about their lack of muscular coordination. So maybe the fact that they have tremors, or that they have weakness on one side of their body, or they have some type of neuromuscular disorder is really detrimental to their confidence. So while you stretch them and help them be able to unlock their potential, you're going to be able to boost their confidence. So not only them experiencing more safety when they work out, which is super important and the most important thing, but you're also going to make them feel more self-efficacy or more confidence when they are working out with you. And that is one of the biggest things you can do. You want to boost your clients' confidence because that will help them to continue their pattern of exercise and their healthy habits. Today in Lesson 6, we're going to talk about increasing blood circulation and how stretching increases the blood flow throughout the entire body. So why is this important? This is super important for anyone that has a very sedentary lifestyle, or even clients that have had a really tough workout and they need to increase their circulation in the following days in order to help remove lactic acid buildup and to also help just with delivering blood flow to the muscles that have just been broken down and that need to be recovered. So let's talk about this and let's get into why stretching can help you do that. So when it comes to working out, blood flow is everything. Blood flow is imperative for speedy workout recovery. It's also something that is very, very not existent in sedentary and elderly clients that may be bedridden, or maybe clients that are limited in how much walking they can do because their legs don't work as well as they used to. So stretching actually helps to move the blood throughout the body in a gentle way. And the key is in a gentle way, because we're always working our clients out so hard that it's important to balance it out with gentle stretching, practitioner or trainer assisted stretching. So this, like I said, is great for the older clients or clients that have trouble moving around. You're going to want to stretch them. So stretching is used as a workout recovery tool, and that is how I like to present it to clients. Like I said, the hard workouts that they're doing are causing them to have tight and sore muscles. And the last thing you want to do when you're feeling tight and sore normally, in those following days, you ask your client, hey, what are you up to? They're normally not working out. They're sitting on the couch and they're relaxing and trying to get over feeling sore. So stretching actually will decrease this discomfort that you get when moving around by promoting blood flow to the extremities and in the areas that are tight and sore. So the clients may feel a little tingly while they're being stretched in their muscles, but this is just an indication of blood flow that's being brought to the area. Usually that tingling sensation is that indicator. So just to elaborate, workout recovery with stretching, you're going to have more blood flow to your brain. So this is great because, who doesn't want more blood flow to their brain? This means your client actually could think clearer, especially if they, just did a hard workout and they might be feeling a little bit lightheaded and stuff like that. Just having them lay down on a mat and being able to stretch them, they're going to be able to think clearer when they're walking out of their session instead of feeling so crazy and feeling so lightheaded. And like I said also, lactic acid removal is sped up by being able to stretch properly and stretching the limbs and such, and also opens the muscle up so it can receive more blood for recovery and repair after working out. So stretching does all of these things. In today's lesson 7, we're going to learn about decreasing the risk of injury through stretching and how it can actually really drastically reduce the risk of injury. I'm going to harp on something really quickly, and that is the fact that personal trainers these days do not think about safety as much as they should. And the thing is that you can have all the certifications in the world, but if you don't know how to keep your clients safe from injury in any way that you can, any way that's in your power, and put them out of harm's way, you're not doing your job correctly. So learning how to stretch your clients is going to help drastically reduce the risk of injury. So keep listening to this lesson and make sure to pay attention to this one. So since safety is our #1 priority and our main job as trainers is to protect our clients from injury, even above getting results. Some clients may want just results, they don't care how they get it, but the real thing that's important is to be able to keep these clients safe from getting hurt. Because if they do get injured, they're going to fall behind in their progress and they might even discontinue training with you altogether. You may lose a client if you hurt them. So your reputation as a trainer really depends on keeping your clients safe at all times. So being able to stretch your clients, as you're going to see in the future videos that show each stretch, is going to actually show your skills as a master trainer that can not only work out a client, but also keep them safe. And the fact that we normally don't stress safety enough is not really anyone else's fault but the industry that we're in. It's mostly about how we look and it's not how we get there. So stretching for safety purposes is not a sexy thing. Oh, I'm going to stretch today. That's not something that is advertised. We want to do these hard, crazy workouts that get our blood pumping and our sweat going. But stretching for safety purposes is not really taught. It's something, the words like mobility, warm up, cool down are not stressed or deemed important enough in the industry. Now it's just starting to change because people realize how important it is, but this is where personal trainers get a bad rap or a bad reputation because we too often neglect these things and end up hurting our clients, which is really looks bad for us. So we need to learn how to properly do this. Really want you to cover all your bases as a personal trainer. We know exercise is important, but the preparation for exercise and the follow-up stretching routines are almost equally, if not more important for your client's health and safety. For example, if you're having your client squat that day, knowing how to properly warm up their hips while being able to stretch their quads and their hamstrings and their hips as well after the workout, that will give them a full training experience. So by full training experience, I mean they're getting everything they need and they're being put through a whole program that is designed for their health and safety and not just a quick, what can I think up, a quick workout for them to do. You want to cover all your bases. And this is why they pay you so much, is because you have this expertise. Today in Lesson 8, we're talking about reducing chronic pain and learning how stretching your clients can actually help them feel better by reducing chronic aches and pains. Now, this is a big point because you want to really address, as we're going to get into in the later lessons, the pain points that your client is experiencing. And a lot of clients, some are verbal and some are not verbal about what's hurting them, but if you can learn to listen to them and really show them that you care and you understand, how to help treat them with stretches, treat their pain, this is something that is huge and will really put basically a high price tag on your services. So like I said, the pain points are extremely important when talking to your client. For example, your client may be experiencing extreme pain in the bottom of their foot, in their plantar region. This is called plantar fasciitis. If you're able to pinpoint tight calf muscles, tight Achilles muscles, you're able to stretch them, you might be able to eliminate their pain so they can walk. So pain is a huge motivator, and clients are willing to pay any price really sometimes to get rid of their pain. If you can help them get rid of their pain, they will pay it. So stretching reduces a wide variety of chronic pains and conditions just by actively stretching them often. And showing your clients how to stretch can really make them feel better and be almost a surefire way to sell them on this additional service of stretching. You just have to play on the pain points, which we're going to talk about more here. Chronic conditions are especially something that a lot of people will be dealing with in and outside of the gym. And so basically these following conditions, you can positively treat them and address them through just stretching your clients on a mat, which you're going to learn about all these conditions and the specific stretches that you need to do to address these conditions that your client has. So if your client ever mentioned sciatica, runner's knee, lower back pain, having tight hips, disc herniations, neck pain, tennis or golfer's elbow, having tight hamstrings, rotator cuff tears, frozen shoulder, plantar fasciitis, as I mentioned, etc., these all are conditions that can be addressed with specific stretches. So that's the cool part, is you're going to have the magic in your hands. And with this magic, you're going to have the ability to make someone feel better. And that, I feel like, is a superpower in itself, guys. Being able to help someone feel better there's no better feeling for yourself, no better reward than helping someone that is in pain. And I can't tell you enough stories of overflowing gratitude that I get from my clients after being a stretch practitioner for over a year, when I'm able to help them with these chronic conditions that they've been experiencing for a long period of time. So we're not just recognizing the pain as trainers being like, okay, I'm sorry you're having sciatica today, but we're actually able to do something about the pain they're experiencing. We are able to address it through the stretches that we learn here. So that is the most important thing, is being able to do that is a high value service. So being able to impact someone's life, basically one stretch at a time. The skills that you're learning and going to be implementing into your training program and with your clients, they're going to take your career, guys, to the next level. If you do what I say in this course, if you take all the stretches in and learn them and really become good at them and learn how to pitch this to your client, you're going to be able to set yourself apart from all the other trainers out there with your ability to do all these stretches. For example, a professional tennis player, they came to me and they almost had a debilitating pain in their elbow. It was affecting their game severely, and we were able to do some forearm stretches with them, and then they were able to grip their racket again without pain, which saved them weeks of a nagging injury. And that is one of the most powerful things that stretching can do for you, is to relieve these types of pains. And through relieving these pains, you're going to be able to impact someone's life. And I think that is the most significant thing that you're going to learn from this course, is the ability to do that. Now, this is the lesson that you guys want to take a lot of notes on. This is one of the most important parts, I feel like, of the whole course, is really how to create basically more income as a personal trainer through learning stretching. Because at the end of the day, yes, we want to help our clients, we want to keep them safe, we want to do all these things for them, but we also want our value to increase as trainers. So this lesson is going to be about creating an optional add-on service to your training packages, and you'll learn how to maximize your earnings with your clients that you already have by adding on trainer-assisted stretching as a service that you offer. And so with this separate service, you're going to be charging a separate price, and you're going to be earning actually almost double of what you normally make off of your client. So the more value you add, the more money you can make. And this is something that is a universal concept when it comes to earning money. People will pay for value. So is this you? You currently have clients, but you're not making enough money with those clients to even make ends meet, and you don't want to go out and get more clients because you already have your time spent. So if this is you, knowing how to stretch will be a valuable service to your clients, and you really should get paid for it. If you know how to stretch like this, you really should be getting paid more. So that's what the Client Stretch Program for Pro Trainers is designed to do, is actually help you develop the skills and translate that into creating additional income for your personal training business. So creating an add-on service is quite simple. You want to start by offering a free or complimentary 15 to 30 minute stretch demo after your client's session to try out the service. So this is after you learn all the stretches we're going to teach you, you feel comfortable, you're ready to start implementing this into your business. You want to give your clients at least a demo and explain that you've gone under these extensive learning training courses for stretching techniques, and now you offer an additional 30 to 60 minutes, whatever you'd like to decide on for that amount of time you offer, to stretch them after their workout. And make sure to explain all the benefits that we went in depth about stretching. You want to review that and go over that so that you can present that to your clients so they can be aware of all those benefits that they're receiving through being stretched. Having a separate service of stretching, you're going to be charging a separate price. So you're going to really pitch it as an add-on with this option that you have. So you may want to charge a separate rate for it. And this allows your client to either schedule their stretch immediately after their workout for the additional price, and additional time, or they can schedule on a separate day to have a recovery day session with you. So if you want to do like 30 to 60 minutes of stretching, you can actually come on a separate day and say, hey, the days you're not working out with me, we can do a recovery day, and we'll focus just on your mobility, and I'll stretch you, and it will really help you with your recovery. And you just want to go into all the benefits that we already spoke about, and by doing it as a separate service, you can charge a separate price for the value of your services. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to add stretching on automatically and increase your prices automatically. So this is the second option you have when you want to add stretching as a part of your program. You can have it, like I said in the lesson before, as an add-on service, or you can add it in automatically, and you can start increasing your prices. So this lesson, you're going to learn how to increase the value of your services and explain price increases to your existing clients who may be paying a lesser amount. So this can be a little bit harder method than the add-on method, because not all clients want to pay more, but the clients that truly value you and also value your services will have no problem having an additional service added on. So you just want to add it in. This method is basically suggesting that you up your prices by automatically adding stretching into your current and future clients' training sessions. So at the end of their workout, you're going to inform them that you're adding in 15 or 30, whatever you like, minutes of specific stretches to help them recover from their workout, and that you have to explain that, my prices are going up. I have taken a course that teaches me how to do practitioner-assisted stretching, and now I'm increasing my prices because I'm doing stretching now. So, and if all else fails, and they really don't like the stretch that you give them, like give them that free 15 or 30 minutes, you can tell them that you'll make an exception for them to keep their session price the same, and you won't include any stretching if they are really adamant that they don't want stretching added on. So now you have this knowledge and you're going to use it. So this method actually works well if you don't have a large client base to begin with, because that means less people to try to convince that you have more value in your services now. Sometimes people don't want to accept it, that you're progressing and growing and that you're worth more now. You can't always grandfather your clients in, like I said, or you can add your stretching to your training protocols with your new clients with that higher price tag at the start of it. So don't even mention adding it in. Just say, this is what I do. I stretch people after. This is the price. And remember that stretching is a valuable service for your clients. By adding it in, you're only going to yield better results for them and make them feel like you are actually a pro trainer that you are. Someone that knows how to stretch your clients, it comes off as a lot more knowledgeable than someone that does not. So that's something in your favor. So it's all about creating the value around what you know. And if you're able to show this perception of value, clients are going to be really willing to add on this service. So you want to make sure you explain the benefits that we went over in the previous lessons, the specific benefits of stretching that your clients will have. Especially the older ones, they love to know what they're actually getting from it, and they will realize the immense value that you're now providing once they experience it for themselves. So you're not only helping them perform better in the gym, but also you're thinking about their quality of life. You want to explain to them how their quality of life is going to be improved. Mrs. Jones, you're going to be able to reach your toes, eventually, and be able to put on your socks and shoes better. Your value really increases as a trainer if you're able to help people with things in their daily life that they're struggling with. So really play upon those points. This is a great lesson for anyone that is a trainer working in a chain gym, a commercial gym, or any gym that you are not your own boss and you're working for someone. So this is how you can stretch, and also you can present yourself in a way as a more knowledgeable trainer than the rest of the trainers around you, and put yourself in the lineup for possibly getting a raise. So this is all through stretching, and this is how you should present yourself and how you should stretch your clients at your job, at your gym, and how you're going to be able to get noticed through stretching them. If you think you don't have control over your own salary, think again. This method that I'm going to show you here is best, like I said, for trainers who want to increase their skill set and their value, and also the number in their bank account, while still working for a gym or a company. You may not have direct control over your salary, but you can definitely work your way up the ranks by enabling yourself through these methods of stretching. So learning these methods are actually going to help you be a better trainer without a doubt. And a large percentage of the personal trainers that are around you, they actually have no clue on how to effectively stretch their clients. And other clients even are going to be noticing when you're stretching your own clients. So it's going to be making a stir in the place that you work, and it's going to be bringing you some attention and definitely increasing your reputation there. One thing I'm a firm believer in is that a successful person is always learning and always growing. And this is what you're doing in this course. By taking this course, you are actively learning and growing as a personal trainer. So give yourself a pat on the back right now for that. So if you want to go out on your own eventually and you're currently in a gym, this course will actually prepare you to venture out on your own, to be able to set yourself apart from thousands of other personal trainers out there. I mean, what is going to make someone want to choose you over the next trainer? You have to set yourself apart. So having satisfied and happy clients who are not only getting results with you in the gym, which you're already good at, but also feeling amazing after, is a recipe for moving up in the ranks of your workplace. So you're going to be able to get the attention of your boss or superiors by exercising these techniques on your current clients that you already have. In essence, you're going to be grabbing the spotlight by stretching out your clients and being observed by other trainers, your superiors, and other clients around you. So not only can stretching clients make them extremely happy, but it can also lead to an increase in your client base. Other clients will see you and want you as their trainer. And your clients will tell their friends about you, which will bring you more referrals in your gym. And then, if anything, your coworkers and other trainers will want to learn from you because they'll see you being successful with your own clients, and they're going to want that for their clients. So, as always, refer them to this Udemy course if you are a really good person and you want to share this wealth of information with them. Or, you can help them out and try to teach them yourself. But this is a great way to steal that spotlight in your workplace. Let's just say it. The simple fact is that clients love getting stretched. So I worked both as a personal trainer and a stretch practitioner in two separate places at two separate times in my life. And let me tell you, the people that I just stretched and didn't even work out with me, just when I was working as a stretch practitioner, they almost never canceled their sessions because, trust me, they love it. They really do. And it enhances their gym performance, their mobility. It helps them not feel so achy and stiff at work. And basically, it got rid of many aches and pains that they had, just basically due to their muscle tightness and some of them by their inactivity. So let me tell you guys, they do love stretching. Maybe you'll find one or two people that really don't enjoy stretching, but a majority of your clients, if they won't mind it, they'll actually really enjoy it. You can almost think of this skill as like learning a new magic trick. So they're going to thank you so much for helping them feel better, and they're going to be basically satisfied with your service and tell their friends and family and maybe even your boss about how you're helping them. So learning how to stretch and becoming a pro trainer, which is the point of this course, is like learning a new magic trick. And I've seen it happen again and again. People come back to me and say, wow, you really know what you're doing. You're really knowledgeable. You really helped me feel better. I don't know how I would be able to continue to work out or do the things that I want to do and play the sports that I want to play if I didn't have you stretching me. So learning this skill, guys, is honestly one of the most valuable things that you can do as a personal trainer to add into your belt of skills. So today, guys, we're going to be talking in this lesson about becoming the quote-unquote expert. And this is really how to talk to your clients about stretching and becoming a stretch expert in their eyes. And this is so very important because in order to provide the value that you want to, you have to be seen as an expert because that is what equates to earning more money. So if you think about it, a general practitioner or a doctor makes less money than a cardiologist. So just in that comparison, a regular personal trainer versus a pro trainer that knows how to stretch their clients, work out their clients, the more knowledge that you have, the more you're going to be seen as an expert and the more value your services are going to have in monetary terms. So the most important part basically is how you explain stretching and how you talk to your client about it. And this could really mean the difference between, really messing it up and not really portraying the value that you want to, and between getting an immediate client or an immediate sale and increasing your revenue as a personal trainer. You want to educate your client on all the benefits of stretching and how they apply to them specifically. So again, if you want to refresh the earlier lessons, they're there for you with all the benefits researched about stretching and specifically how it helps with those things. So this approach should be strategized and personalized to your client and their needs when you're talking to them as an expert, because you want to be able to do that and personalize it in order for them to feel like you know what you're talking about. A big advocate of the try before you buy model. So this I've found is one of the most successful ways to have a client conversion or to sell a client on stretch services by offering a free 30-minute, or you could say complimentary 30-minute demo for your client. So we're going to have more on this in the next lesson, specifically what you want to say and do and the different stretches you're doing in this 30-minute demo. But during this demo, you're going to be looking for certain things to assess in your client. This will be things such as hip mobility, shoulder range of motion, hamstring flexibility. And you're basically going to be pointing out where there's weaknesses, where there is a lot of tightness, and where there's a lack of mobility, because you want to point this out to the client. They may not be aware. A lot of clients are just living in tightness and living in pain. So showing off your skills is going to come into play during this 30-minute demo. So you have these 30 minutes to really show that you are a knowledgeable and very effective stretch practitioner as well as a personal trainer. So being able to assess those areas of tightness and the problem areas are important, because most clients, like I said, are used to walking around in pain and used to walking around being tight with bad posture, bad mobility. And so you want to say something like, for example, Susan, as you can see with this hip stretch, your range of motion is only at about 45 degrees. So right there. And the normal healthy range of motion is actually right here at 90 degrees. So we'd have some work to do on this area. So you kind of want to present it in that way. We're going to have more about it in the next lesson. It's really during this 30-minute demo that you're going to be showing them the possibilities. They're not used to being able to touch their toes, or maybe they have trouble putting on their shoes or getting out of bed in the morning. They're all hunched over. They're going to be shocked that this is not normal and that you don't have to live like this. You tell them, you don't have to live like this, Mrs. Jones. You have the ability to be able to touch your toes now, and that kind of stuff. And you want to make sure to explain that this is a separate service that you now offer, and that you really recommend adding it in based on the results of the 30-minute demo. So, I really see that your hips need a lot of work here. And then, you said your knee was bothering you, so we have to work a little bit on the IT bands. But I really recommend if we do this, 2-3 times a week, you can start to see those improvements. So you want to kind of give them hope for the future and show them all the possibilities that stretching has. So the 30-minute demo is going to be more an in-depth lesson. So really take notes on this, guys. Try to pay attention. This is exactly learning the stretches and dialogue that you need to do with your client in order to show them how valuable stretching is to their lives. So the dialogue in this part is everything, because how you speak to your client is the way that you're going to be able to portray the value that you offer, and help convince them through not only just the demo itself, but convince them through how you speak to them that you are knowledgeable, you're a pro trainer, you have this knowledge, and you can make a difference in their life through the stretching. Number one rule of the 30-minute demo is to follow the protocol. So for this first stretch demo, you're going to want to follow the protocol almost to a T, because it's going to help you to have the most leverage for making a sale with your client. It's important to stay very verbal and engaged during the demo, because you're going to be interacting with your client, explaining the benefits of stretching. You're going to be showing them where they're limited and how you can help them. And you really want to be pointing out those imbalances, muscle tightness on certain sides and certain areas. And you're also going to be explaining exactly what you're doing and why stretching is going to help them, not only in the gym, but in their everyday life, which, increasing their quality of life is something that everyone wants to do. So you have to really portray that to the client and explain it to them thoroughly. So you want to put an emphasis on the feeling and experience that they're having during this demo. You have 30 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you choose, to really work on this client. So after the demo, you're going to want to have them stand up. This is important to write down. Have them stand up and walk around and ask them how they're feeling. So most likely they might use words like, I feel a little bit lighter, I feel a little taller or looser. And then you want to get feedback from them. So you'll say, great. So now you can obviously see how helpful and important stretching is after your workouts. You feel great, right? You want them to say yes. You want them to emphasize how good they're feeling. So getting that yes is super important. You might just want to write down that whole phrase and always use that phrase when you speak to your client during that first 30-minute demo. So this comes to the close. The closing of the sale is always the part that people get nervous about, but you don't have to, because now it's time to seal the deal with your client. So what you're going to say is, if you like the stretch today, I have added this as an add-on option at the end of our workouts together for an additional 15, 30, 60 minutes, whatever you decide. And then you name your price. That way that we can start working on your tight hamstrings, hips, and lower back, etc., and improve your range of motion and the tightness you're experiencing. So are you excited to get started? And then that's when you really go in for it and close them. You want them again to say yes. It's all about getting the yeses. Get the yes from the client and then move on. So once you've gotten your yes from your client, you're going to say to them, so there's over 55 stretches in the program. We can work on different areas each time if you'd like. It'll be a little different each time, and we can target different areas of your body. What do you say? And you just want to leave that open to them to see what they say, wait for them to respond, and if they said yes, then great, you made a sale. Now you have a way to make more money with your client, help them achieve their goals faster and better, and also you already have that client. You don't have to be searching for more clients. So we're going to continue with what happens if they don't say yes. So this is probably one of the hardest things that all people have to deal with when they're presenting a sale of something, is dealing with rejection. Now you may experience a solid no once in a while, or an objection to a client, from a client. It could be that they just didn't really like the service, or they don't have the money, or they want to think about it. But this is how you're going to respond, and this is how you're going to deal with the situation. So number one, some people just don't like to be touched or stretched. So you just have to realize that it's not you, it's them. They don't like to be touched or stretched. They're not going to really be enjoying the stretching. Number two, some people don't like spending money, even though they know that it's something that's going to help them. So in that instance, you really have to kind of work on the person and show that every penny that they're spending on this is going to be beneficial for them and that it's well spent. And then maybe they just need a few sessions to think it over. Some people don't like to make decisions right away. I'm one of those people. I like to think about it. So try to give them until the next time that they see you and see how they're feeling. But don't wait for more than a week or more than one session to go by to ask them how they're feeling and check in. You might want to even text them the day after and say, hey, how are you feeling after the last session stretch? And get their feedback. This is also an opportunity during your next session to mention the ways in which stretching could have helped them. with either their squat depth being deeper, their shoulder range of motion being farther. You keep wanting to sneak in those points about the stretching. So maybe next session comes around, you're squatting, you say, hey, we can really help you squat deeper if we work on your hips and the mobility there. You're going to be squatting much lower than you normally do. So then you really want to seal the deal. So the biggest way, I'm going to say this over and over to you guys, the biggest way to sell someone on your service is through showing perceived value. If a client sees your service as valuable and meaningful in their life, they're more likely to want to do it and want to invest the money in it. If they don't see that it's valuable and they don't feel like it's helping their life, they're not going to want to do it. So to summarize, you can show value through 1, the pain points. Show them how to stretch, how to eliminate the pain. 2, which is practical use. Show them how stretching helps them for touching their toes, putting on their socks, reaching up for, something in the cupboard. Or 3, the positive feelings. Emphasize how they're feeling lighter, less stiff, more vibrant. You really want to emphasize those 3 things to really seal the deal. So now with these new skills, you actually have more value to offer, and you're going to be able to watch your business grow and your prices rise as you continue to improve your skills as a personal trainer. And now you're also not just a personal trainer, but you're also an assisted stretch practitioner. And that is something that you can add to your resume, to anything. And really not many trainers are comfortable or knowledgeable in the methods of stretching their clients. A majority of them are not. That's not something that's taught or emphasized when it comes to personal training. So you're setting yourself apart. So now the rest of the course here, you want to finish the rest of the course, practice your new skills until you feel completely comfortable, even if you have to take the course again and again. And the comfort, it will come with practice. So just continue to practice it and you will see and reap the benefits. Today we're going to be learning about the 30-minute demo, which in my opinion is one of the most important parts of this course. When you're doing a 30-minute demo on your client, this is your opportunity to really show your client exactly what your services are that you offer and the benefits that they can get from stretching. They can actually feel it happening and they can see it happening. So this is really, really, really important. Please take notes, and I wanted to just mention here, reiterate to be verbal with your client while you're doing this 30-minute demo. Check in with them, see how they're feeling, explain to them what stretches you're doing, how they're helping their body, and make sure to tell them, to tell you where they're feeling the stretches. You want to make sure they're feeling it in the right area. In addition, we are going to be showing you only one side of the body being stretched because in this sequence here, there's a few different parts, and usually we do one side of the body, a couple of stretches, then we balance out the other side and such. But I don't show the other side in this video because I didn't want it to be extremely long. So I'll explain a little bit more in the following module, but for this video, guys, take notes, watch it a few times until you feel comfortable, and practice. So here is the 30-minute demo explained for you. Alright guys, so we're starting out here. As you can see, my client is laying on the ground, and I'm just grabbing her arms and pulling them far away from her. So I'm checking in with her range of motion to make sure she's not in pain or anything like that. And we're just kind of moving to the side a little bit to get her lats opened. This is to open her shoulders and her lats. So next, as you can see here, I'm just pulling her legs to the side, and her arms are also out to stabilize her. This is going to open up her lower back. I'm keeping her feet and her legs stacked on top of one another, as you can see. And so we're also going to do it on the other side. I know I said we're only doing one side, but anyway, this one I showed on both sides. And this is a great beginning warm-up stretch. This is part of the warm-up, guys. Starting with the first stretch that we did into this one, this is all part of the warm-up. You always want to do this before you start any of the stretches. So then I'm going to bend her knee and I'm going to let her hip fall to the side. And this is going to open up her inner thigh and her adductor. So as you can see there, I'm just pushing her leg kind of inward towards her, bringing her knee up towards her upper body. And again, I'm checking in with her to make sure she's feeling okay, make sure everything is okay. And this, like I said, opens the adductor. So then we're going to turn, as you can see, I got her right leg and kind of moved it inward. And then I bent her knee again. And this is not a knee stretch. This is actually for your hip flexor. So right here, I am actually allowing her hip to externally rotate by bringing her leg inward like this. And as you can see, she has a pretty good 90 degrees of hip rotation. That's a really healthy hip. Some people, though, on the other hand, they don't have that good external rotation of their hip, as you can see here. So usually that's when I would instruct them and show them how many degrees they're at compared to what is normal. And so here I'm just going into the basic regular hamstring stretch. So one leg's on the ground, the knee, I try to keep it as straight as possible. And I kind of rest the foot on my hip and walk forward towards it. And you want to, again, make sure to check in with your client. Make sure that they're not feeling like they're overstretched or anything like that. Go nice and slow. Those circles that you see me doing right there actually helps to create a little space and shake out kind of the muscle after an intense stretch. So here I'm going right into an IT band stretch. So as you can see, one leg stabilizing the right leg that is brought to the side a little. And then the left leg, I'm actually keeping the knee straight and bringing it out and over to the side. So this is a really great stretch for anyone that runs, anyone that does a lot of cycling or anything like that, even people that sit all day. So here, as you can see, I'm bending the knee and I'm holding, bringing it from the back of the knee and the foot with my hand. I'm pulling the knee towards her chest, and this is for her glute. As you can see, she feels it. She did a little smile there. Always check in with your client's facial expressions. If they're really wincing a lot during the stretch, you might be going a little too deep. So always check in with their facial expressions. So here now, I'm actually pulling to the side. I have my hand underneath, my arm underneath her leg, and this is for piriformis. So I'm going at a different angle now, bringing that left knee to her right shoulder. So as much as her mobility allows. And this is really great for people that sit a lot and are dealing with sciatica, or, you know, if your client says, hey, I'm dealing with a lot of sciatic pain or a lot of hip pain, that is really important. Now I'm resting her foot on my hip and I'm having her push her knee away. This stretch is going to also open up the outer hips again. So we're having her push her knee away, and I'm pushing towards her with, I'm bringing my hip closer and closer to her upper body. Now another one here that we're doing is I'm bending her knee and I'm grabbing her opposite arm and I'm pulling her to the side and saying to relax her body. So she's just relaxing her upper body. This is opening up the upper back and the rhomboids, and if you want, you can even grab their shoulder and pull them a little bit to the side. My leg is making sure that her hip doesn't move, that she doesn't turn over. It's just a gentle upper body opening stretch right here. So people love this one a lot. Moving on, we are going to be doing some of the calf stretches now. So for calf, you're going to bend the knee. You want to kind of warm up the calf by palpating it a little bit. Not massaging, just palpating. And just to warm it up. Some people have sensitive calves, so I'm just warming her calf up. Then you're going to straighten out the knee. You're going to rest the foot on your thigh, and you're going to, as you can see where my hand placement is, pull at the back of the heel and bracing the foot on your inner forearm, and you're going to kind of pull forward and up. So pulling the heel up and forward is going to release her calf muscles in this stretch. Super important. Now we're turning her toe outward. As you can see, I told her to turn her toe out, keep her knee straight, and this specific stretch is going to be with the toe outward, is going to be opening up a certain part of her hamstring because we have 3 hamstrings. So in the beginning of the stretch, we just did the straight hamstring, but this one, we're turning the toe out so that we can hit a different area of it. Now when you turn the toe in, that'll be, as you can see, a tighter area. It's more of the outer hamstring that we're getting by turning the toe in the outer hip area. So as you can see, it's very tight on her, and you want to be gentle and just take it as the client is able to. So now again, one more time, we're going into the straight hamstring stretch, which is straight foot, straight knee, and just walking forward with it. Sometimes I rest my elbow on my hip and kind of move forward that way to get a deeper stretch. And as you can see, I'm just making sure her foot stays straight, nice and straight. Okay, so now we're going out to the side. I'm placing my foot on the inner thigh right here, and I'm actually stabilizing that leg so I can get her adductors on her left leg, as you can see. So I'm just placing it in my hand and I'm kind of walking it out. And now I'm putting it a little higher up to get a different angle of the adductor, and I'm putting the foot more on my shoulder or on my upper chest, still stabilizing the other leg with my foot to make sure that it doesn't move and she can get a deeper stretch. So now we're going inward to the inner hip here, and I'm just having her knee bent and stabilizing it, and then I'm pushing down and out. That's the important part. As you can see where my hands are placed, they're pushing out and they're pushing down, and this is really opening up her inner thigh and her inner hip muscles, the psoas, iliopsoas, and all that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you take your time with these stretches, guys. Go nice and slow here. This one here, I'm kind of opening up a little bit of the outer hip, pushing to the side, outer hip and lower back area. This is a great stretch, arms out to the side. People can have both knees bent or one straight. I prefer the one straight and the other one goes over, just like I've shown there. That one's great. People love that to open up their lower backs. Then also I'm going to place her foot kind of on my chest area, and I'm going to make sure her knee doesn't go outward. You don't want the knee to externally go out, but hers is doing pretty good, so we just want to push straight down to get more of like a glute and hamstring. As you can see, nice and slow, 3 reps, light, medium, and deeper. And I believe that is it for the demo. Actually, no, there's more. So I forgot, we're going to do a little bit of upper body. So I'm doing an internal rotation right here. My hand is just underneath her elbow, and then I'm gently pushing down her hand with my other hand. So this is an internal rotation of the shoulder, which actually stretches the external rotating muscles in the shoulder. Now I just flipped her hand the other way, same thing, keeping that elbow supported with a hand, and the other hand is pushing the one down to the ground. You might have to lift their arm up a little bit if they have really good external rotation like she does. So I'm lifting the elbow a little higher to get a deeper stretch. So guys, that was a 30-minute demo. I just have a few tips for you. The first tip is to go slow. Please go slow with your client. Don't rush through the stretches. You want them to actually feel it. So again, hold the stretches for about 7 to 10 seconds each rep. 7 to 10 seconds. Number 2, check in with your client. You want to always be checking in with them. Look at their faces. Ask them how they're feeling, how they're doing. Ask them where they're feeling the stretches. And then you also want to explain to them what you are doing. So, you want to explain to them, okay, so right here, Mrs. Jones, as you can see, your hip rotation is great. You have a 90-degree angle, which is perfect, what you want. Okay, Susan, it looks like your hip rotation is only at 45 degrees and we want to get it to 90, so we're going to have to work on that. So just explain what you're doing to your client during the whole sequence, and again, make sure you do both sides and just keep practicing these stretches, guys. There's going to be more in depth about these stretches in the following modules and following lessons, but this is just an overview of the 30-minute demo. You kind of want to follow this for your clients. In this lesson, we are going to be talking about stretches for every single muscle group. So you'll see video demonstrations of stretches for practically every muscle group, and you're going to learn how to utilize them for your clients. So this is the juicy part. This is the meat and potatoes of the whole course that you have been taking, is basically the videos themselves. So you really want to be patient with yourself when you watch these videos. Take notes if you're questioning anything. And if you need to practice things, practice until you can't anymore. Because that's the only way you're going to feel comfortable doing this with your clients. So don't be hard on yourself. Practice with anyone. Practice with your family, your friends, whatever, until you feel comfortable. So let's dive right in. So every stretch has its place. In this lesson and module, you're going to learn stretches for each of the following muscle groups: the shoulder and rotator cuff, neck, forearm, lats and upper back, hips and hip flexors, as well as the hamstrings, quads, glutes, calves, plantar and foot, as well as the hands and fingers. Very basic tips for success are to watch and listen to the following videos very closely. Watch them over and over. Slow it down and take notes if needed. Don't get overwhelmed. I know it's a lot to learn. This is a big course. And learn to take it one at a time and master one stretch at a time. Also, master one muscle group before moving on to the next muscle group. And write down the stretches so that you remember to practice them. They have some specific names and they have some specific descriptions, so just write those down and practice them as much as you can. In this lesson, you're going to learn all of the details that go along with stretching. So it's not just learning the stretches, but here in this little chapter, you're going to learn about the details on how to not overstretch your client, how to properly communicate with your client, and how to get them the best results. Now, this all comes together with communication, which is the main point of this whole lesson here. So let's get into it. First of all, you want to learn how to not overstretch your clients. So the first thing you need to learn is being very vocal with your clients. Make sure to talk to them during the stretch. It's very, very important to talk to them about each stretch, and always make sure to start lighter first. So this just means go into the stretch lightly, check in with them, and ask them, how's this one feeling? Where do you feel this stretch? You can always go deeper into a stretch, but you can't go back from overstretching someone. Also, look out for facial expressions. If someone is wincing, saying ouch, or screaming uncle, those are not good signs. You don't want to hurt your client, so just be gentle with them and be very assertive to how they're reacting to each of the stretches. Part is, like I said, client communication. Good phrases to use when stretching your client are, how is this feeling? Where do you feel this stretch? Is this okay, or do you want me to go deeper? Or even a simple, is this okay, can be used for most all of the stretches. Just checking in with them shows that you're attentive to their needs and you are checking in to make sure you're focusing on your stretch. They appreciate this, checking in. You don't want to be annoying, but then again, every once in a while, you want to use one of these phrases to communicate with them. Last but not least, communication is everything. So you, again, want to make sure that they feel acknowledged by you, that you're really focusing on what you're doing. A lot of times, once you become comfortable with the stretches, it's easy to zone out and to have just mindless chit-chat with your clients. There is nothing wrong with chit-chat. Most of your clients will appreciate and love that you want to talk to them about life, and you'll get to know them very well. But then again, I just want to let you guys know not to forget to check in from time to time, especially when you have a new client that you're not that comfortable with yet and they're not that comfortable with you. Showing that you know what you're doing and you're also attentive to them is going to go a long way, and eventually you'll be able to probably chit chat with them more. But in the beginning especially, it's important to communicate, like I said in the previous slides. So we're going to be doing an upper body warm-up right here. As you can see, my client is on the edge of the table again. A table or bench is very beneficial for these upper body stretches. I'm just letting her arm be limp. I'm telling her to just relax her whole arm. And then I'm grabbing from the shoulder and pulling downward to open up a little bit of her neck and her shoulder region. So, and this is also the traps to open that up. So you want to do this before you start doing any upper body stretches with your client. In this chest opener stretch, what you're going to do is you're going to have your client seated upwards and then placing your knee behind their shoulder blades right there gently. You want to have them put their arms crossed behind their head, and then gently taking both elbows, you want to kind of pull away from the body, and you want to pull the arms back towards you. This is going to open their chest, and also they may feel this stretch a little bit in their back if they're tight in their upper back as well. So this anterior deltoid opener stretch, again, you want to have your client seated, and then as you can see, I'm gently pulling her arms back towards me. I'm actually also pulling her arms inward. Now, it's going to depend on your client's mobility, how far back they can go, but as you can see, this is opening the anterior deltoid, and this is a great stretch for clients that have to sit a lot during the day. Today's stretch is going to be the warm-up shoulder lat opener. So in this stretch, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be grabbing your client's arms as they're lying face up, and you just want to gently pull their arms toward you, creating space in the joint and opening up their lats and their shoulders. As you can see, I'm kind of twisting a little bit to the left, and also I'm going to twist to the right slightly so that we can really open up each side of the shoulder joint and also of the lats. It's an excellent stretch to do in the very beginning while you're warming your client up. So in this stretch, we're going to be talking about shoulder internal rotation. Again, your client should be on a bench or a table so that their arm is off the side. And I'm supporting, again, underneath the elbow of my client and slowly and gently pushing down so that on their hand, on the top of their hand here, the top of their wrist, so you really feel that internal pull. And this is going to be great for your client. Again, tennis players, any type of sport that has throwing, this is really great for to increase mobility and to open up the shoulder. So in this stretch, we're going to go over shoulder external rotation, and the reason why you want to do this with your client is going to really help them with their rotator cuff and also with mobility issues and pain. What you want to do is support their elbow with your hand and then gently push down on the top part of their wrist to externally rotate the shoulder. Please check in with your client, make sure they're feeling okay, and gently do this stretch because some people have mobility issues, so really feel it out, and this is one of the most beneficial stretches, especially for tennis players, etc. This quick back of the shoulder stretch is basically going to help with the warm-up, guys. You want to grab your client's arm and pull it upward. Just pull it upward and away from their body, and this is part of the opener. You're going to do it on both sides, and it's really going to help the client be able to be mobile for the rest of the stretches. Today in the upper back stretch, we're going to show you how you're going to help your client to be able to open their rhomboids, the back of their shoulder blades, and the upper back. So what you're doing first is you're going to place your client's leg over the other one in a bent position and have their straight leg kind of to an angle off to the opposite side. Then once they're in this position, you're going to go to the side of the leg that is the straight leg. You're going to put your foot underneath so that it kind of stabilizes their leg. Grab their arm, and you're going to pull gently up and towards you. So as you can see, her shoulder is being pulled towards me and it's opening her upper back. Make sure to tell the client to breathe and make sure to stabilize so that her hips don't move. As you can see, I grabbed her shoulder here, which is great for people if they have shoulder issues. To get a deeper stretch, you may want to just place your hand there gently and help to pull the shoulder towards you. And then let her kind of release, and then again 3 reps in this stretch, making sure the client breathes and checking in with the client throughout the whole stretch. Today we are going to be talking about the hanging lat stretch. So in this stretch, what you're going to do is instruct your client to hold on to a bar, if you have a gym available to you or whatever you have available, and basically they're going to kind of dead hang from this bar, and they can kind of twist a little bit if they would like to really open one side or the other of the lats, but you're basically going to tell them to just have their feet lightly touching the ground if they can touch, and to just release their whole upper body while holding on, and they're going to be feeling an insane stretch in their lats, which is going to also help their shoulders be more mobile and open. So this stretch is excellent. This stretch today is going to be for the sternocleidomastoid, which is a mouthful to say, but what you're going to do again, have your client slightly turn their head to the left or the right, and what you want to do is place 2 hands on their shoulder, and now you're going to push down, and so you kind of want to push down and away. Make sure that their hand is kind of facing straight, so that it's kind of reaching towards their toes, and then you kind of want to push the head away with the hand that is closest to you. As you can see, it's slightly on her cheek, pushing the head away, and you're pushing that shoulder down. If you want to deepen the stretch, have your client look all the way to the left or all the way to the right in order to make it more intense. Again, you want to make sure they breathe, check in with your client, and continually push. As you can see, that area of her neck that's being stretched, that's part of the sternocleidomastoid, and your clients definitely need this stretch, guys. So make sure to do both sides. In today's stretch, this is the sternocleidomastoid stretch. This is the second one you're going to learn. So again, you're coming from a different angle now. Your client is looking slightly to the left or the right. You're going to put one hand on the shoulder, and the other hand is going to cross over that and push the head away. So this is a more intense stretch for the sternocleidomastoid if your client needs it. You're just stabilizing the shoulder, as you can see here, and then you're pushing the head away. Make sure to do this on both sides of the body and to be very gentle and check in with your client throughout the whole process. And make sure they're looking all the way to the left or the right for the more intense stretch. Today we're going to be showing you the scalene stretch. This stretch, you're going to have your client again laying on a table or a bench if you can. And what you want to do is you want to kind of grab under their jaw, have their face or their chin slightly turned to the left or the right, and you want to gently push away and pull away. So you're pulling the head away a little bit, where your hands are placed on her jaw, and then you're pushing away with your other hand on the collarbone. You want to have your other hand on the collarbone. Be very careful and gentle with this one because this is a sensitive area of people's neck, but they really need it, especially if they're looking down at their phones or their computers a lot. So you want to repeat this stretch on each side. So this is a back of the neck stretch that we're going to be doing on our client. As you can see, my client's laying on a table, which is super helpful if you have a bench or a table. And as you can see, I'm grabbing her head gently, cupping the back of her head, and I'm pulling it gently upward. I'm telling her to relax her head, and I'm pulling the head away from the body and upward. So with this motion here, we're releasing the back of the neck, which has a lot of tension oftentimes when the client has been sitting for long periods of time or has been in a weird position. So now, as you can see, I'm going gently to the left and to the right. So you kind of want to pull it again away from the body and upwards, slightly turn the head to the left, get that stretch, and then slightly turn the head to the right for the other part of the stretch. This specific stretch is the cranial release that you're going to be doing for your client here. As you can see, she's propped up on a table, which is helpful if you have a bench or table to put your client on. If not, you can still do it on the ground. What you want to do first is support your client's head, and with your hands, you kind of want to make, with the two front fingers, you kind of want to push upward in the little space in their cranium, right in the middle of their head. So as you can see, I'm making the first two fingers. Those ones are the ones that are going to be pressing upward. And I'm just telling my client to relax her head, let her head kind of fall back and really release. And clients will love this to release all the tension that they have in their neck and their head from sitting or looking a certain way. Here we're doing a posterior forearm wrist stretch, and as you can see, your client has their arm off the table, and what I'm doing here is I'm taking both hands and it looks like I'm twisting their arm, and I am. So what I'm doing is I'm twisting the wrist, and I am actually bringing their hands towards me, and I am twisting it upward as well. So I'm twisting the wrist inward towards me, and I'm twisting it upwards, and this is going to maximize the forearm stretch and really create great results. This anterior forearm and wrist stretch, what you're going to do with your client's arm off the table is first you're going to hold onto their bottom of their elbow and kind of support it. Then you're going to take your other hand and you're going to grab onto their fingers and you're going to pull down first. You want to create space and really distract from the joints. So you're pulling down and then you're bringing the fingers actually almost towards their posterior part of their forearm. So as you can see, it's bringing it down and actually towards them, their fingers towards their body. And this is going to be great for clients that have working with their hands a lot or have a lot of contact with working at the computer, etc. This is really going to help open up their wrists and their forearm. This stretch is going to open the triceps and the lats. So what you're going to do is have your client seated on a bench. Again, you want to just brace right behind their shoulder blades with your knee, and you're going to take their elbow and kind of pull upward with the elbow, and then also holding onto their hand with your other hand, you want to kind of pull downward. And if you kind of push them to the side a little bit, so pushing the elbow more, you're going to open the lats as well. And this is a great dual stretch to help any type of athlete, especially tennis players and athletes that have to do throwing movements. This is really going to help them as well with shoulder mobility. Call this stretch the twisty tie, and it's an upper back and spine stretch. What you're going to do, have your client seated, and you're going to kind of brace them with your knee again in the middle of their back. And I'm having my client put one of their arms over their shoulder, and then I'm kind of pulling again from the part of their elbow towards their back. So I'm kind of twisting them around. It's almost like you're twisting your client. You're going to do this on each side, and this is going to really open up the muscles around the spine and the upper back. This stretch is the seated hip opener stretch, which you're going to instruct your client first to be seated on a bench or a chair. You're going to have them place one leg over the other knee with their other knee bent as well, and then they're going to lean forward and you're going to gently push down on their leg as shown. So this is going to open the hip, and it's one of the best stretches for any athlete or any person that has to sit for long periods of time during the day, and they will really appreciate this stretch. So this is an SI joint and lower back stretch that you're going to perform with your client. You're going to have them cross one leg over the other, keep their arms out to the side to stabilize their body, and then you're going to slowly push their knee down towards the ground. You want to be very gentle with this stretch. You may be having some cracks or pops, and that might just be their SI joint or lower back adjusting back into place. This is great if this happens. It's actually great for them. And just make sure to talk to your client, see how they're feeling during this stretch. A lot of people have really, really tight SI joint, lower back areas because of sitting a lot during the day, different activities that they do, and inactivity. So this stretch, again, one of the most beneficial. I love to do this in the warm-up as well with my client, and always include this in the protocol to make sure your client is super happy. This stretch is an inner hip opener stretch. What you're going to do first, having your client laying flat, is you're going to kind of take their leg, it looks like a chicken wing, and you are going to place one hand, one arm kind of on the inner part of the knee, and the other one is going to be resting the foot on the forearm of your other arm. And now what I'm doing is I'm pushing upward and pushing down with the other arm, so it's creating a bracing effect on the hip, and then the foot is supposed to come upwards. So this is to open up the inner part of the hip. Some people have really, really tight inner hips, so you want to be gentle with this stretch and go nice and slow. Make sure to repeat on the other side, and again, you're just going upwards with the foot and bracing the other part of the knee. This is the second inner hip opener stretch that you're going to do with your client, having them laying flat. This time you're bringing their leg inward so that their foot is on their inner knee there, and then you're going to push outward and downward to kind of open up that hip joint, and basically you want to make sure that it's bent at an angle and that their leg stays flat there, and you just want to keep pushing outward and down to distract from the joint and create space and open up their hip there. In this hip external rotation stretch, you're going to be opening up your client's outer hip, which is really beneficial if they're sitting for long periods of time, or if they have a desk job, or if they are a runner, etc. So what you're going to do here is you're going to kind of put one leg over your other client's leg, and as you can see here, I am placing my hands underneath her foot and also pushing her knee kind of inward, or her shin is coming towards her. So this is opening up her hip. So doing this, by rotating the knee inward, you're actually externally rotating the hip. And this is one of the most beneficial stretches for the warm-up. I recommend you do before you get into the other stretches with your client, and explain to them about their mobility if it's lacking. And 90 degrees is pretty normal here, so she has good external rotation of the hip. Make sure to repeat on both sides of the body, and make sure to include this definitely in one of your staple stretches. In this hip flexor stretch, we are going to be learning how to help our clients with lower back pain. Usually when there's lower back pain, it can be influenced by having tight hip flexors. For this stretch, you will need a bench or a table, and you're going to want to line up your client's tailbone with the edge of the table or bench, and then on a count of 3, you're going to help them back. As you can see, I help my client. She's in the fetal position now, and you want to put something under their head for comfort. So I just put a foam roller under her neck here. The next step you're going to do is you're going to have your client hold back their knee or their leg for you. So I'm having my client hold back her right knee with both hands, and then her left leg is just relaxing down. You want to tell your client not to use any muscles during this stretch and to just let their leg relax normally. As you kind of go on the outside of her hip here, you're going to push down gently while using your hip to push the leg inward. So I'm pushing down gently on her quad while pushing her hip inward towards her body, and this is going to really help get the outer hip flexor. The other hand is stabilizing her by holding her by her shoulder. So again, you just want to make sure they hold back their leg, and this is a really tough stretch for a lot of clients that have to sit for a long period of time. So again, we do 3 reps, starting light, then going a little deeper into the stretch until finally we go to the inward part of the hip flexor. So now I just kept her leg relaxed. I told her to relax her leg and to keep holding her leg back. And now I'm on the inside of her hip flexor, and again, I'm doing the same thing, putting my hand near the bottom part of her quad, and I'm slightly pushing the hip away from the body now with my knee. So this one, again, it can be quite tight in the adductor region, but this will get the inner hip flexor. So again, just talk to your client, make sure that you're being gentle with them and feeling out the stretch. It can be very different feeling if they've never had this stretch done before. And if so, if your client feels like they're falling off, you can let them wiggle back a little bit if they do need to. So here I just placed her leg on my shoulder, her foot on my shoulder, and now I'm going to be getting the middle hip flexor. So I'm using my knee, or not my knee, I'm using my foot to push her foot down a little bit, and I'm pressing downward on her quad with both hands. So this one, she doesn't really need to hold her leg back for me, but this one's one of the tightest stretches usually for people, but one of the most beneficial for their lower back, and it usually is pretty intense for the client, so just take it slow and make sure to repeat on both sides. For this bent knee hamstring stretch, what we're going to do with our client first is we're going to have them lay flat. We're going to get their leg and actually put it on our shoulder here. So it's okay if their knee is slightly bent for this hamstring stretch. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk forward with the leg on our shoulder there. And we're just going to keep walking forward. As you can see, I have my hands right bracing her knee here. And so I'm kind of pushing forward. And it's okay if her knee is a little bit bent. We're just going to keep walking forward with the leg until she feels a good stretch. And also, you just want to make sure that with this one that your client's leg stays on your shoulder, and make sure that you yourself are not straining, because this one can tighten your neck if the leg is very heavy on your traps. So try to stay relaxed yourself when you're doing this stretch. Today we're going to be showing you two adductor stretches that are going to open up the inner thigh. What you're going to do first is have your client lying flat, have their leg that's on the ground braced by your foot underneath, and then you're just going to have their leg out straight to the side, and you're going to slowly push their leg forward towards them and out to the side. So this is going to open up the inner thigh, and like I said, the adductor region. You want their toe to be pointing out like it is right there, not up or in or anything out like that. You want to have it pointing out. The second part of the stretch, as you can see, same thing, bracing that other leg there, but you're just having their leg resting kind of more on your arm, and you're supporting right underneath the knee there, and that's going to be getting a different angle of the adductor. So you want to do each of these stretches for best results with your clients and to open up their inner thighs. This is going to be an upper hamstring and glute stretch. What you want to do with your client is having them laying down. You're going to place one foot on your chest, and you're going to make sure that their hip is not externally rotating. You want to keep it inward. So as you can see, with one hand I'm bracing their knee to keep it inward, to keep their knee from going out to the side. Then you want to push down towards your client, and this is going to really open up the lower part of their hamstring and their glutes. And make sure again to repeat on the other side of the body. In this stretch, we're going to be showing the hamstrings with the toes turned in. Again, what you want to do is keep your client's knee straight, their leg straight, and as I'm demonstrating, the toe is turned inward, and you want to slowly walk forward with the leg while keeping the knee as straight as possible. This is a slightly tighter stretch for this part of the hamstring, so you just want to be gentle and go slow, and make sure to repeat the stretch on the other side. In this hamstring stretch, we're going to be demonstrating with the toes turned out. What you want to do is keep your client's leg or their knee completely straight. Then you want to kind of walk forward with the leg, and with your other hand, you want to turn the toe outward so that your client can feel the stretch in the specific region of their hamstring. This stretch is focusing on opening up the piriformis. Now I'm going to tell you first off, this is going to be one of the best stretches for any client that's dealing with sciatica or something similar to that. So sometimes when the piriformis muscle is really tight, it's pinching on the sciatic nerve. So what you want to do is have your client lying flat. Again, we're placing our hand right behind the knee and holding right in here behind the ankle for this one. And so what you want to do is you're pulling more at an angle. Instead of pulling the client's leg towards their head, you're kind of pulling it to your side, to you, on the side that you're sitting at. So you're pulling it at an angle to the side, and this is really going to open up that piriformis muscle. Make sure to repeat on both sides and take this one slow. In this glute stretch, you're going to help your client open up the part of their glutes that usually gets locked up, again, from sitting for long periods of time, running, cycling. As you can see here, I'm on the side of my client. I have her knee bent, and I'm holding with one hand right behind the knee almost, and the other leg is kind of supporting the shin, and I'm pulling. Most of the pull is coming from right behind the knee here. As you can see, I'm pulling the leg back towards her body, and again, this is repeated on both sides, but most of the pull, remember, is from right behind the knee. You don't really want to yank on the shin, and this is a great stretch you want to always incorporate, again, with clients that sit a lot. In this assisted pigeon stretch, you're going to be helping your client open up their outer hip. So what you're going to do is have your client lay flat, have them bend one of their knees, and then bend their other leg so that it's resting the shin on top of the other knee, like so. And this is a great stretch for a lot of clients that are sitting often during the day, that have desk jobs, etc. So what you want to do then is to place their foot on your chest, and you're going to start to walk forward with the you want to move forward towards them to have the foot on your chest, and this is going to open up the hip that is on the leg that is crossed. And again, you want to repeat this on both sides of the body, but as you can see here, she is getting a big opening in the other hip, not the one that, obviously not the leg that's on my chest there, but the other leg that is bent in that position. The hip is externally rotated, and that's where she's going to be feeling the stretch. So again, like I said, this is great for clients that do a lot of sitting and have a lot of tight hips and lower back problems. Definitely incorporate the assisted pigeon stretch in with them. This is a quad stretch. It's going to also open up a little bit of the hip flexor. You want to have your client laying on their side with one knee bent, and the other leg you're going to be grabbing from right above the knee, supporting it, holding the foot with the other hand, and I'm bringing the heel of the foot towards her butt, being very gentle with it. You really want to pull away from the body and create space in the joint, not just bring the heel to the butt without pulling away. Or pulling the knee towards you first, and then bringing the heel of the foot towards the butt. So this will really open up the quad and help relieve tension on the patella and different areas in the knee. Very beneficial stretch for tennis players, cyclists, and runners. This next stretch is for the IT band, which is great for runners or anyone that has tightness or pain in the knee. So you want to have one leg straight to the side, having your client lying down. And as you can see, I'm putting one foot under their straight leg to kind of stabilize it, and then I'm bringing their leg out to the side. So you're pulling away from the body and you're bringing it out to the side, their leg. So this is going to really create a stretch all the way from their hip down their leg, sometimes even into their calf muscle. So this is really, like I said, great for any type of running athlete or any type of knee pain. You want to make sure you're addressing the IT bands. This is a stretch that people cannot do on their own. Make sure their knee is straight as shown, and just keep bringing it to the side to where it is comfortable. This stretch is a quick calf stretch that's going to be very beneficial for any runners that you have, also cyclists. What you want to do is have your client's leg straight, resting it on your leg or on your knee, and then you want to pull from behind the ankle or the bottom of the foot upwards towards them and kind of press down with the foot on your forearm. Again, you want to work into the stretch. Some people have really tight calves, so go nice and slow. Breathe, and again, just pull from the bottom of the heel gently and push down on the foot with your forearm like so. So we're going to learn some finger stretches here. These stretches are for the digits. So with your client, you want to be really gentle with their fingers, but you kind of want to, again, pull down and away with each finger and each digit, because we don't realize how much we use our fingers these days in the digital age of technology, where we use it for typing, we use them for being on the phone, for using our mouse, clicking endlessly day to day with the desk jobs. So you just want to be very gentle with your client's fingers, and you're pulling down and kind of away, well, towards their body, but away from you. And then you want to do all of their fingers at once after you've done each digit. And you would, again, want to be very gentle. This will also help the wrist a little bit too, because there are muscles that run all the way in the anterior forearm into the fingers through the wrist. And then this is a great one for the thumb, because our thumbs and our hands really gripping the steering wheel, anything like that is going to cause tightness. So again, you're pulling the finger down and away from you and towards their body. So this is for the thumb. And again, you just want to repeat each stretch always on the other side of the body as well. And lastly, you just want to go the opposite direction, and it's going to get the top part of the hand, which will also be really, really beneficial for your client. This lesson, we're going to learn about neck pain, some of the causes of neck pain, and the appropriate stretches you will be referred to, which will help to relieve neck pain for your client. First, talk a little bit about some of the causes of neck pain. So a lot of your clients can have neck pain arise from a variety of causes, including staring at a computer for a long period of time, either looking up at a computer or down. Looking down at their phone is another reason that especially the scalenes can be particularly tight. Reading books, sleeping wrong or using the wrong pillow, and also certain exercises in the gym can cause neck pain as well. These are overhead movements like overhead pressing, shrugs, and trap exercises, even some shoulder exercises. And these also can be due to repetitive overuse of the muscle. Sometimes neck pain occurs from herniations as well in the cervical spine if your client has had an accident. And like I said, trap tightness can also cause pain to radiate into the upper back and upper neck. Some of the causes of neck pain. Some of the following stretches, which you've already seen in the previous modules and which you can go back to, are listed right here. These following stretches can be used to treat your client's neck pain. So you're going to start with the cranial release. This is excellent to open up any type of tightness in the back of the head. Clients love this in the beginning to warm up the head for the back of the neck for the stretches. The scalene stretch is the next one that is going to get that front part of the neck that is usually affected by looking down often at books or cell phones. And then the sternocleidomastoid stretch is also going to affect the trap and the sides of the neck that usually can be disrupted by bad sleeping habits with multiple pillows or staring at one object for a certain amount of time. We're talking about lower back pain, and in this part of the lesson you're going to learn about stretches that are going to help reduce lower back pain for your clients. And this is very important because lower back pain is something that affects many people, and a lot of your clients may suffer with lower back pain. So this lesson is going to be very, very important for you. Make sure to take notes and listen to exactly what to do. Again, the stretches are you've already learned all the stretches, but they're going to be referenced in this lesson. Let's go over some of the causes of lower back pain. So clients that come to you with lower back pain, this could be highly due to tight hips and hip flexors. So that's that part of the hip that is the front and side parts of the hip, as well as tight hamstrings. So that's the back of the leg. If both of those are tight, which is due to sitting a lot, they could experience lower back pain. Also, like I said, sitting and being in a seated position for longer than 30 minutes, think all your desk job workers, they definitely will have lower back pain. And then also you may have clients with injuries that have been in car accidents, have disc herniations, and then also simply having an SI joint out of place can cause some discomfort in the lower back area. What can you do to address lower back pain? What you can do is basically the stretches that are listed here. So you're going to do the seated hip opener stretch. You're going to do all 4 hamstring stretches, the one with a bent knee, the one with the toe turned in, the one with the toe turned out, and then the regular straight hamstring stretch. Like I said, all of these videos are already in the module. You've learned this before. This is just a reference to tell you which stretches to use for specific conditions such as lower back pain. You also want to do the SI joint lower back stretch, the piriformis stretch, and the hip flexor stretch. All of these together will help your client relieve lower back pain, and additionally, they all work in conjunction together to help with getting them back to full health in their lower back. We're going to talk about tennis elbow, also golfer's elbow, in this lesson and learn which stretches you can utilize to address these two conditions, which actually affect the forearm of your client, and usually forearm tightness is the cause of it. So let's get right into it. Go over what the difference is between tennis elbow and golfer's elbow. So tennis elbow usually is something that affects the outside or the lateral aspect of the elbow, while golfer's elbow affects the inside area or the medial part of the elbow. So both of these conditions stem from tightness or overuse of either the anterior or the posterior forearm muscles and tendons. So knowing this, we know that we have to stretch the forearms to really relieve the tightness that is going on and affecting the origin of the muscle on the elbow joint. Briefly, we're going to go over what causes these conditions. So like I said before, tightness in the anterior or the posterior forearm can be brought about in a variety of ways. So one is if your client is playing a sport that requires any type of gripping of an object. This could be tennis, golf, softball, baseball, racquetball, etc. As you can see, this has a correlation because when you're gripping an object, you're activating your forearm muscles. So overuse or gripping too tightly is actually something that could cause these issues. Again, another one is gripping the steering wheel too hard, same thing. And then occupations that require physical labor with tasks such as hammering or drilling may also cause golfer and tennis elbow. Even desk jobs that have people typing for long periods of time can cause some type of flare-up in that area. Stretches to address tennis or golfer's elbow are as following, and these again are already in the previous modules that have all the stretches, so you can refer back to those videos. But what you want to focus on for these conditions is the posterior forearm / wrist stretch, and then additionally you want to do the anterior forearm / wrist stretch. I also just want to mention that in my free ebook, which is included with this course, there's other stretches that you can prescribe to your client to do on their own that will help them as well with any type of pain that they're experiencing in their elbow. So make sure to refer to that book as well. But these are the two stretches you can do on your client while you are stretching them to help address tennis elbow and golfer's elbow. This lesson we're going to be talking about hip pain, something that affects many clients, and we're going to learn what causes hip pain and the stretches that you can utilize to help to relieve the pain with your client. What actually causes hip pain? This is a question that is often misunderstood because there's a variety of things that can cause hip pain. It can be an injury something that happened either in the gym or out of the gym, depending on what the client was doing. Also, sitting for long periods of time. This is like a precursor to having hip pain because we are in seated positions for so long, and usually they're very compromising to our hips and our hip bones, etc. Sitting for long periods of time just causes a lot of tightness in the hip itself. Also, being inactive. If someone is inactive, they can have hip pain because they're just not moving. So their joints are not lubricated. They're not having any, mobility there. Also, powerlifting or degeneration of the hip joint can all cause hip pain. These are a few stretches that we want to utilize to address hip pain in our clients. The first stretch can be used basically to relieve hip pain. It's simple, the seated hip opener stretch. We also have the SI joint lower back stretch to put that lower back hip joint back into place. We have the inner hip opener stretch 1 and 2. This will get the inside of the hip muscles right there. And then we also have the hip external rotation stretch and the hip flexor stretch. I want to highlight that the last stretch, the hip flexor stretch, it gets the outer hip, the middle part of the hip, and the inner hip muscles as well. So this one hits it from all around. I definitely really recommend the very bottom one if your client is complaining of any type of hip pain. It may be one of the most important lessons that you go over this whole entire course, and it is because the word sciatica strikes fear into the hearts of every client. I think if your client hasn't experienced sciatica before, they've probably heard of it and they've heard horror stories about it. So you want to learn what stretches to do and what causes this painful condition. Your clients are actually going to love you for this one. So pay attention to this lesson closely as we dive into what actually causes sciatica, what is it, and what are the magical stretches that you can utilize to treat this condition. What is sciatica? Basically, this condition is caused by deep external rotator muscles in our buttocks, the specific one called the piriformis. Sciatica can also be called piriformis syndrome. That's another name for it. The reason we called it this is because when this muscle, the piriformis muscle, is tight, it actually presses down on the sciatic nerve, which is a long nerve that runs all the way down from our hips all the way down into our foot. And this will cause a shooting pain, and it's like a needle-like shooting pain that goes down the leg. It starts on the outside of the thigh, and it can go all the way to the foot sometimes. Usually clients will describe this pain as shooting, needle-like, or sharp, and some just say it hurts like a mother effer. So there's that. So what can cause sciatica? The following activities can actually trigger a sciatic episode very easily. The first one is sitting for long periods of time. I don't know if there's a recurring theme that you guys see, but sitting is like the new smoking. So sitting for long periods of time, having a desk job, traveling constantly, driving around for hours on end, being inactive, those all cause the outer hips and buttocks muscles to tighten. So another one is you wouldn't think of is actually using a mini band in the gym. I don't know if you've seen girls putting mini bands around their legs to help grow their butts. Basically, this causes the glute muscles and deep external rotator muscles to become extra tight, so that booty band, overusing it. And then lastly, if you have a spinal disc herniation, this can actually cause that nerve also to be irritated and press down on the sciatic nerve. What stretches do you want to use, basically, to address this condition and bring relief? Well, the following stretches, they can be used to open the piriformis muscle and the gluteal region, and this will really help your clients with any type of sciatica flare-ups that they may have. The first stretch is the seated hip opener stretch. You definitely want to do the piriformis stretch. This one might be imperative. You may want to repeat this one a few times if your client has really bad sciatica. The glute stretch will also be helpful, as well as the SI joint lower back stretch. And then lastly, the upper hamstring glute stretch that was in the other module will also help with this painful condition. Again, like I said in my free ebook, there's other stretches that you want to prescribe your client to do whenever they start feeling a flare-up happen. You want to refer them to those other stretches as well. Today's lesson is about plantar fasciitis. We're going to learn the causes and stretching techniques that you can use to address this painful condition that affects the bottom of the foot. There's a few reasons why people get plantar fasciitis. It's quite an annoying condition, and if you're able to help your client through stretching to relieve this, they're going to really be happy about it. So let's get right into it. What is plantar fasciitis? Basically, it is a painful condition that affects the bottom of the foot, called the plantar region of your foot. So this can be on the heel, this can be on the middle portion near the arch, and this can have multiple causes. Usually the calf muscle, the Achilles, and the muscles on the bottom of the foot, like the muscles where the arches of the foot are usually involved when it comes to plantar fasciitis and the pain associated with it. So what exactly causes it? Here are some of the common causes of this condition. So people who are on their feet all day, if their arches in their foot are collapsed or they don't have good arch support, people that are on their feet all day will start to experience the pain on the bottom of the foot. Another thing is runners and cyclists, like athletes that pivot off their feet often, such as tennis players. All of these types of athletes that are involved with using their calves a lot, it causes them to get very tight. And when the calf muscle is tight, it affects the bottom of the foot as well. And then another curious thing is people who sleep with their sheets over their feet at night, like kind of on top of their feet, with it tucked in, this can cause the foot to go into plantar flexion, which can cause the calves to flex and tighten all night long. So I usually advise my clients not to do that. So some stretches to help plantar fasciitis. This one's just very brief. The one that you're going to be doing on your client is the calf stretch. So that stretch will help to open up the calves and also the bottom of the foot and the plantar region. For more information on stretches to prescribe your client to do on their own, refer to my free ebook, which is included in this course, that is your complete guide to workout recovery and stretching. This will have as well as foam rolling techniques, other stretching techniques for the bottom of the foot, for the calf, and the plantar region. In this lesson on rotator cuff pain and impingement, we're going to learn a ton of information on what stretches are going to help shoulder issues such as rotator cuff tears and muscle impingement in that area. This is a super important module and super important lesson because of the fact that many of your clients are going to come to you with some type of pain in their shoulders. Either limited mobility, frozen shoulder, rotator cuff tears, partial or full tears, shoulder surgery, etc. A lot of sports require the shoulder joint to be utilized, and a lot of times they can be thrown out, and also because of the nature of the shoulder joint, they can become injured. So these stretches are going to help keep a shoulder joint healthy and in good shape, and also help an injured rotator cuff or shoulder to recover better. What exactly is rotator cuff pain or impingement? So this is common actually in many people due to the delicate nature, like I said, of the rotator cuff muscles. So knowing these muscles, we know they're very small, and we know that they surround a joint that is particularly very mobile. The shoulder is one of the most mobile joints in the body, and it's also a very shallow joint that it surrounds. So these little muscles are in charge of keeping that joint in place. And impingement refers to pinching or nagging pain in the shoulder due to muscle tightness. The shoulder joint, like I said, is shallow and it's a ball and socket joint, so it's basically more prone to injury than other joints. So while we stretch these muscles, it's really imperative for healthy shoulder movement to continue to work on the rotator cuff and make sure that it remains healthy throughout. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what causes rotator cuff issues and impingement. So the following basically can cause problems with the shoulder and the muscles in the shoulder. One of them, which is major, is playing sports with throwing as the main movement. This can be a tennis player, someone who plays golf, softball, baseball, even football, really. Any type of sport that there's a lot of external rotation of the shoulder, it can be prone to tightness and pain. Also, weak musculature around the shoulders make it more prone to tearing and injury, and sitting for long periods of time, like desk workers and such, have a tendency to have their shoulders round forward, and it'll get super tight, and basically it's more prone to injury as well. What are the stretches that we can utilize for the rotator cuff? Basically, these ones that I'm going to list here that we've learned in the previous modules can be used to open up the shoulder muscles and relieve tightness and pain. So the first one is the chest opener and stretch. This also will get a little bit of the anterior part of the shoulder and deltoid. The tricep and lat stretch is important because not just the triceps, but the lats are extremely important in having shoulder mobility. If the lats are tight, it's going to limit the shoulder and cause pulling on those muscles in the rotator cuff. So you want to make sure the lats are always open and stretched. Another main one is going to be shoulder internal rotation and external rotation. Those two stretches are going to be the lifeline of the shoulders. And then you want to do the back of the shoulder stretch to also open up the rear part of the muscles in the shoulder joint. And then lastly, the hanging lat stretch is great as a warm-up for any client in the gym. We are going to learn here in this lesson about knee pain, basically what factors are the leading causes of knee pain, and exactly what stretches to use to ease the discomfort of your clients. So you'll find often this is a major discomfort in the gym that your clients may complain about, and some of it may be their own doing, but with the stretches that you're going to be learning here, you're going to be able to help them better address their pain and actually get to the root of the issue. Start here with what actually causes knee pain. So knee pain affects many individuals at one point or another, and this is because we operate in the frontal plane. That means we're doing a lot of stuff like walking forward, running forward, cycling, doing movements in the gym, all forward. So this puts a lot of stress on joints, especially in the knees. And there's a lot of tightness that can be attributed to pain in the knees and things like that because of muscle tightness. So knee pain can most often be attributed, like I said, to those muscles tight, like the IT band, the quadriceps muscles, the hips and hip flexors, the adductor muscles, and even the calves can contribute to pain in the knee. Really, who is affected by knee pain? Many people can be affected by knee pain for various reasons. Basically, you're going to find people that are desk job workers, people who sit a lot during the day behind a desk. This can cause tightening in their hips, calves, and their thighs from being stuck in that position for an extended period of time. This makes them more prone to injury and more prone to tightness in the joint of the knee. Another one is runners. Often they have IT band syndrome, or they call it runner's knee or jumper's knee. And basically any athlete doing high impact sports can get tightness in the quadriceps muscles as well as the IT bands around the outer part of their thigh. Another thing is improper lifting in the gym. Improper squats, lunges, etc. can put a lot of strain on the knee joint and the muscles firing improperly. And also some power lifting and heavy lifting in the gym can cause wear and tear on the knee. Stretches are here to really give you the leverage in helping your client with knee pain, addressing their knee pain, and doing what you can to stretch out those muscles. So these stretches are all, like I said, in the previous modules, and all you have to do is go back, watch those videos again, take notes, and like I said, there's supplemental material in the free ebook that I'm including in this course, which is your complete guide to workout recovery and stretching. So you want to make sure, but when you're stretching your clients, to do the quad stretch, you want to do the adductor stretches, the calf stretch, the hip flexor stretches, and also focus on the IT band stretch. These stretches are really going to help open up that anterior portion of the body and really open up any tightness that could be affecting the knee joint.